Wars. Set to go for game number 2 here from the Only Family Stadium alongside Bruce Wozniak. I'm Victor Anderson. Tampa taking game 1. Scoring runs in each of the last 4 innings to take the game 6-2. And Bruce will be the freshman Holly Steffes who'll get the ball for the Spartans. Should I extend their winning streak to 7 in a row? And Steffes, we kind of represent game number 1. That Tampa was trying to find that number 2 behind Gwen McGinnis, and Steffes has really stepped into that role based on the numbers she's had this season.
Yeah, 2-1, 1-loss record, a 2.24 earned run average. And the benefit of pitching at home this afternoon here in Game 2 against Wilmington University.
And that's a strike to get things started to Addison Sabo. Jason Shehorn completely shaking up his lineup for the back end of this twin bill. We'll tell you about that lineup change, those lineup changes after the 0-1, which is a swing and a miss for 0-2. Addison Sabo will lead things off. Riley Mamoli will hit in the 2-hole. Haley Trapani, who will be the designated player, she'll hit 3rd. Mia Lane will hit 4th. Jess Reed will hit 5th. Caroline Scott will hit 6th. Brianna Greenlaw, Alexander Eisman, and Cassidy Zalano will round out the Wilmington order as that one's fouled away and will roll back towards Salisbury. Cassidy Exendis will be in the circle for the Wildcats.
In case you did not see the first game here on our doubleheader broadcast, this is Addison Sabo, despite jersey number 24. Do not adjust your sets.
Customary wearer is number 26 for the Wildcats, but wearing number 24 with the white uniforms with WilmU in green and the black trim. Count still 0-2 to Sabo. Steffes has another one fouled away. Steffes last time out was in the second game of the doubleheader versus Assumption on Wednesday. Started out well through the first 3 innings. Ran into a little bit of trouble in the 4th, and Coach Leslie Cantor to bring in Gwen McGinnis from the bullpen to give the Spartans the win. Hoping Steffes can go a little bit further along, and Sabo won't help as she extends this first at bat of our second game. Steffes, as Bruce mentioned, 2-1 with 2.24 ERA. 26 strikeouts to 6 walks in 25 innings for the freshman. Sales a little bit outside, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Wilmington now 3-10 on the season, trying to bookend their trip to the Sunshine State with the win. Started off the trip with a 8-inning win versus Sioux Falls. It's part of the spring games. Sable has worked the count even 2-2.
We've talked in past seasons about this ballpark. I mentioned the friendly confines for the Spartans pitcher. You will not see home runs in this park. They are few and far between.
While pitches were few for Steffes as she points to her chest to Kenna Kryler, and it's a full count. Good job by Sabo. Really extended this at bat at being out 0-2. Payoff pitch to Sabo. Swing and a miss. Down she goes. So nice battle back by Steffes to earn the strikeout.
9 pitches in that first at-bat. Steffes looking to settle in here against a Wildcats team that seemingly was left for dead in the first game, and great job of battling back and putting a little bit of a scare into the Spartans, who then woke up and scored going away to win it 6-2.
As falls, numbers swinging strike 0-2, and that was off Kelsey Winters that forced Coach Cantor to put McGinnis back in to preserve her own victory. And she did just that. They'll appeal to first, and Rick Sanzone says no swing. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Yeah, we did see a lot of things unique in that first game, as you mentioned, with McGinnis going out and then coming back in, and we thought that we were going to see the end of relief pitcher Olivia Hitchens after she slid into home plate and was down for quite some time. She had come on in relief of the starter and yet ended up back in the circle to start the next half inning.
It was a tweak to her non-pitching shoulder. That one gets lifted. That will sail out of Naoli Family Stadium near the Martinez Center. Count remains 2 balls and 2 strikes. Tampa's defense, real quickly for you. Abby Johns in left. Albie Zekman in center. Cam Feast in right. Carly Salisbury at first. Over at second, Hannah Yetter. Over at short, Kinsey Reynolds at third, Jenna Newpaver. With Kenna Kryler catching Holly Steffes. And for the second straight at bat, after being ahead of a Wildcat, finds herself on a 3-2 count. The payoff, Steffes will get looped in the right center field. Outfield for Tampa was playing back. Wide turn for Maloney. Will have to settle for the 1-out single.
Yeah, I'm not going to try to find fault with a base hit, but it looked like there was just enough of a hesitation as she made the turn that conceivably, with enough speed, could have turned that into a double. But the Wildcats certainly happy to have a runner on base here in the top of the first.
If Feast played a couple of steps back, then maybe Maloney would have booked it for second, but got better of it. Bunt laid down by Trapani, foul. Came in as a pinch hitter on the back end of game number 1 versus Gwen McGinnis. That was back in the 6th inning. She had a pinch hit single that forced McGinnis to come back in the game. That was off Kelsey Winters. Got a piece of it off of Kreidler and our home plate umpire, Eric Valentine. Brings the count to 0-2.
Be interesting as this game 2 unfolds to see what adjustments head coach Mike Shehorn made based on game 1. And of course the chess match as Leslie Cantor in anticipation of what he might do. And of course some tweaks to what her own lineup did in game 1.
I think the biggest thing for Coach Cantor, she does not want to have to bring in Gwen McGinnis for the 4th straight game after having to bring her back in to close out game 1 and then having to do something similar with Steffes in game 2 versus Assumption Wednesday night. 1-2 count to Trapani. Maloney on at first, 1 down in the top of the first, on the way in game 2. Hits that one hard past the Wilmington dugout. Count stays 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Interesting, a lot of foul balls. Bats very active early for Wilmington here in the second game.
Making this freshman work for that second out. Another step is 1-2, and another foul ball wasted by Trapani.
It's either a reflection on Steffes and what she's serving up, or perhaps Coach Shehorn told his troops during the break in between games, let's swing away in the second game. Or a combination of the two for that matter.
Misses the outside corner, 2-2, and that was an extensive meeting, Bruce, that Coach Shehorn and James Brittingham had with the Wildcats in right field. That lasted almost excess of 15 minutes after game 1. And down goes Trapani swinging. Second strikeout for Steffes and 2 down for Mia Lane.
And to give you an idea, 23 pitches thrown already by Holly Steffes.
To put that in comparison, Gwen McGinnis only needed 28 pitches total to get through the first 2 innings of game 1. Fouled away by Lane. Lane in game 1 went 1 for 3 with 2 strikeouts. The last at bat was a single that she came home to score. Again, that was off Kelsey Winters. Upstairs, 1 ball, 1 strike. 2 down at the top of the first. Riley Maloney on with the 1-out single on the right. Off the freshman Holly Steffes, looking to improve the 3-1 in her rookie season. Hit high, but will be playable in foul ground for Johns, who makes the catch with plenty of room, and the side is retired. Wilmington cannot take advantage of the Maloney 1-out single. Tampa will have their first swings when we come back on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network and Tampa Spartans.tv. Back here in Tampa, we go into the bottom of the first. And it'll be Casey Zanidis getting the ball for game number 2 for Wilmington. The sophomore comes in with a 1-2 record with a 5.55 ERA. Opponents have gotten to the sophomore, particularly the last 2 outings that she's pitched, Bruce, where she got lit up versus Florida Tech in game 2 of that doubleheader they played on last night. And then the previous outing, she went on against dead number 10 St. Leo, and they lit her up as well. But a big opportunity for her, given how her team's been hanging around against Tampa.
Yeah, and you got to have a short memory, and change of scenery can only help do her some good. And have to be buoyed by the efforts that her team made in the first game when it looked like they were down and out for the count. And this game in particular, getting that hit in the top of the first is also going to be a shot in the arm, because in game 1, hits, not to mention runs, were tough to come by in the first couple 2.5 innings.
That one misses low and outside. 2 balls, no strikes.
I think it's also fair to say that this is a Wilmington University team that it's kind of that old expression, the record is not indicative. You look at 3-10, and you kind of think, put another one in the win column, and this Wildcats team is exceptionally competitive.
They're 3-time CACC champions, preseason top 20 in for a reason. It takes 4 strike, 3-1. Juna Newpaper leading things off. Coach Cantor shaking up the top of the order. It'll be Newpaper, Johns, and Kreidler 1, 2, and 3. Aubrey Zeckman dropping down to the 9 hole. And another good strike for Zanidis. Brings the count full 3-2. Newpaper getting a chance to be the table setter for this Tampa lineup. Went 1 for 2 in game 1. A little PFP by Zanidis gets to the first for out number 1.
If you're watching us from within the greater Tampa Bay area, we do appreciate you joining the broadcast, but we certainly encourage you to come out and support the team in person. A great facility for college softball. Beautiful afternoon that we've had here on this Friday, March 6th.
Abby Johns takes that outside ball 1. Johns in game 1 hit in the number 7 spot, went 2 for 3 at an RBI back in the 5th. So Coach Cantor rewarding the sophomore. A little flare. That one will fall in front of Solano. And that should be a base hit. It looks like Reed got a tough jump going from second base. Almost, I don't know if she tripped over herself or tripped over the dirt. She's trying to clear that footing, so it'll be an infield single for Johns.
Yeah, tough one for Cassidy Zolano. I think she just misjudged it. She looked like she had a bead on it and just couldn't get the glove in place. Spartans catch a little bit of a break.
Well, she presumed Reed was going to be there, and when she saw Reed stumble, she had to go double time from short. So Kreidler will come to the plate. Kittle with an RBI single in the 3rd in game 1. She went 1 for 3 with a run scored. Falls behind 0-2. Defensively for Wilmington, Caroline Scott in red, Addison Sabo in center, Brianna Greenlaw in right. Will give you the infield after the 0-2 pitch from Zanidis. And it's upstairs for ball 1. Brianna Greenlaw's at first. Jess Reed at second. Cassidy Solano's at short. Mia Lane at 3rd. Riley Maloney doing the catching for Casey Zanidis in game number 2. Howler's 1-2 is lifted. I will get in the outfield and will fall in the glove of Sabo for out number 2. Almost fell into that Bermuda triangle of Reed, Iceman, and Sabo, but Sabo hauls it in for the second out.
It's interesting to look down the Spartans lineup and see only one senior, which is Gwen McGinnis, who we saw in game 1, and so Kenna Kreidler is one of a trio of juniors here in this game 2.
And another one takes ball 1 in the form of Cam Feast. Feast in game 1 of the doubleheader went 0 for 3. Was subbed out as usual for Joey Trawick defensively in the 6th. Feast fouls on one off, brings the count to 1-1. No score, Tampa and Wilmington back in of our doubleheader. 2 outs in the first. Abby Johns at first.
Yeah, so these back-to-back hitters, Kreidler and Feast, are juniors. And so Cantor kind of looking at them as veterans and showing that by putting them in those spots. Looking for them to carry a lot of these underclassmen.
Coach Cantor understands that there's going to be ups and downs with a very relatively youthful roster. Good-looking pitch by Zanitas. Doesn't get the call from Mr. Valentine behind the plate. Much to the dismay of the Wilmington fans down below us. 3 balls and a strike. She kind of caught the corner. It's a friendly zone on the inside by Rick's zone in game 1. Feast will make Zanitas think about it a little bit longer. 3 balls, 1 strike to Cam Feast. Zanitas, this time on the outside edge. So the walk for Spartans at first and second, and bring us Micaiah Brummel O'Neill.
First walk issued by Casey Zanitas. Zanitas 17 pitches thrown thus far in this first inning.
Pitch number 18 is low and outside to Brummel O'Neill for ball 1. Last time Zanitas took the bump was against Florida Tech game 2 of that doubleheader last night in Melbourne. Went 3 innings, gave up 6 hits, 2 runs, and an earned run. Had a walk and 4 strikeouts in those 3 innings. But the game was well out of reach as Florida Tech beat the Wildcats in 5-12-3. Ball in the stride to Brummel O'Neill. Johnson second, Feast at first, 2 down, and the Spartan first, looking to score in the first inning once again. Brummel O'Neill will sail that out of play, brings the count to 1-2. Tells you the confidence that Coach Cantor has when you have a freshman at the top of the order. You have a freshman as your designated player hitting in the middle of your lineup. 1-2. High and tight, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
And Leslie Cantor has never been afraid to put her young players in positions such as you're describing for Brummel O'Neill. And certainly she has that confidence during the recruiting process to get him here in the first place.
2-2 will fall in front of the right fielder, Eisman. That will bring home Abby Johns. Feast holds up at third. And Brummel O'Neill once again comes through with a 2-out base hit. Knocks in a run, and the Spartans take the 1-0 lead.
Continues the pattern that you pointed out, Victor, in game 1 when the Spartans were doing all kinds of damage offensively with 2 outs. And Brummel O'Neill continues that trend here in game 2.
Of the 6 runs Tampa scored in game 1, all of them came with 2 out. And Brummel O'Neill continues said trend with the RBI single. Her 10th RBI in the season, her 3rd in this doubleheader. Here comes Carly Salisbury. Salisbury takes that one for ball 1. Salisbury had an RBI double as part of that 3-run 5th inning that really broke the game open for the Spartans.
She's hitting .282 on the season. As you see that one fouled back.
Salisbury, another one of this talented freshman class brought in by Coach Cantor. 1 week away from celebrating her birthday on the diamond next week, as the Spartans will have a Friday doubleheader versus Caldwell on Salisbury's birthday. Salisbury ahead. Salisbury has an even count, 1 ball, 1 strike. First and third, still 2 out. Spartans with the 1-0 lead. Brummel O'Neill, the reason for that lead, stands at first. Salisbury falls behind 1-2. Salisbury is starting to find her swing during this homestand.
Keep in mind Cam Feast over at third base.
Salisbury gets jammed, and that will be in the glove of the catcher Maloney. And the Spartans will leave them on the corners. But Micaiah Brummel O'Neill gets him on the board thanks to an RBI single to the right. 1 run on 2 hits, no errors, 2 lefts. We're doing it here at Only Family Stadium. Spartans 1. Wildcats nothing on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. Back with you here at the top of the second. Alongside Bruce Noraki, I'm Victor Anderson. And Bruce, this is the kind of first inning that you want if you're Tampa. Steffes gets out of the inning unscathed, gives up the hit, and you get the RBI single for Brubble O'Neill to give yourself the 1-0 lead.
And, of course, the Spartans already had the shot in the arm that was the victory in Game 1. The field is tilted their way because they're playing at home. And, of course, as you mentioned, they're going to build more confidence with Steffes. And if she continues on the path that she started out there in the first inning, they'd like to see her pitch count down a little bit.
26 pitches in the first inning, and something that you brought up, especially with Sabo and Maloney working that count. Reed, Scott Greenlaw, 5-6-7. Reed takes the 2-0 and flips it foul. I will land in the trees and on top of the Spartan third base dugout.
Good start nonetheless when you compare it to Game 1 and the slow start that the home team had there. So 1 run and 2 hits already here in the top of the second.
Reed this season 4 for 16 with 3 RBIs. And now is ahead on Holly Steffes 3-1.
Let's not also forget getting a runner over to third base, even though there was runners on the corners that were stranded when the inning ended. Fact of the matter is, the Spartans showed early in this game that they're ready to play offensively and defensively. And a shot in the arm for young Holly Steffes.
3-1 back to Reynolds. Gets it over quickly to Salisbury for out number 1. And when Steffes is pitching like that, letting the defense work for her, Bruce, that's what's made her so successful in her young Spartan career, is when she's able to trust that defense behind her.
And the run support will certainly help her settle in even more.
So brings up Caroline Scott. Goes after the first pitch inside, and we'll hit it right over towards the Tampa bullpen down the left field line, 0-1. Scott on the season, 1 for 8, making her third start as a freshman for Coach Shehorn in Wilmington. Upstairs. Similar to Tampa, Wilmington losing a lot of firepower from last year's Super Regional appearance. Losing all region selections, Delaney Sheehan, first team all region selection. Emma Zimmerman as well. Sydney Hatch.
Spartans, by the way, are home again tomorrow. A doubleheader starting at 2 against Southwest Minnesota State.
We'll have that action for you on Tampa Spartans.tv. Another bounce over to Reynolds. And I'll be out number 2. The Mustangs won twice today in Bartow, Florida. Part of the spring games, knocking off Northwood and Glenville State in 5 innings. So they'll carry with them a 3-game winning streak to Mayomi Family Stadium. Taylor Stolworthy and I will have the call for you there. First pitch hit to left center field. It'll be Zekman. And Holly Steffes retires the Wildcats in order. In the top of the second. Still 1-0 lead for the Spartans as we head into the bottom of the second inning when we come back on Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. Victor Anderson back with you alongside Bruce Warzaki here at the bottom of the second. Yetter, Reynolds, and Zekman, 7-8-9. Taking on Zanitas for Wilmington. Spartans with the 1-0 lead. And Yetter takes strike 1. Yetter in game 1 went 2 for 3. Had hits in her last 2 at-bats and then a flyout. And had a fly out to left field to end the second inning in game one. Getter ups at the left, and now will be in and out of the glove of Scott. Had to catch, but that ball popped out of her glove. So instead of being out number one, it's strike number two. Tampa trying to find themselves their seventh straight win. This is on the outside edge, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Getter with multi-hit games in 3 of her last 6, and she's starting to really get her swing going, but she'll go down looking to Sanitas for strike 3.
Now batting for the Spartans, number 20, shortstop, Kenzie Reynolds.
So 1 down, I'll bring up Kenzie Reynolds. Like Coach Shehorn like he's going to make a change. I don't know if he's going to make a change defensively or go to the bullpen early. Yeah, it looks like Coach Shehorn is going to make a change. So we will see a new pitcher take over for Wilmington.
Pitching change for the Wilmington Wildcats. Now on the mound, number 21, Clara Babiak.
So Clara Babiak will come in at this Anitas. Got the strikeout of Yetter. Babiak comes in, making her 3rd appearance. She's only pitched a 3rd of an innings, walked 3, has a strikeout, does have a wild pitch. So an interesting move by Coach Shehorn, Bruce, bringing in Babiak after Sanitas. We didn't really see anything that wanted her to be pulled early, but Coach Shehorn looks to make the change early here in the second.
Yeah, he has his reasons that we will probably never end up finding out, but if it benefits his team, that's obviously the goal. So we'll watch and see how this plays out. If it has the desired result. And of course, on the Tampa side, just when you think you're starting to look at Zanitas, all of a sudden a whole new look. It's going to at least play into your head the first time through the order for the Spartans.
Reynolds with a good cut, fouls that out of play.
And granted, they hadn't gone entirely through the order yet. Close enough.
Babiak, her last appearance was against St. Leo, pitched the 3rd of an inning with a walk and a strikeout. Almost grazes the shoulder for Reynolds. Her other outing came against Seton Hill on March the 1st. Came in, walked 2 batters, and got pulled.
Yeah, interesting that he goes to someone that coming into today had only 2 appearances, just a 3rd of an inning, had issued 3 walks, 1 strikeout. That's a 0.00 earned run average, but it's a very small sample size.
I think Coach Shehorn using this as an opportunity to see who he can trust when they get back up north and start CACC play in a couple of weeks. Of course, Wilmington, the 3-time defending conference champs. And gets a strike and brings the count full to Kenzie Reynolds.
Yeah, and certainly I'm sure that Clara Babiak recognizes the opportunity that she has here to, as the saying goes, put some work on tape. As you saw the base on balls there.
I thought when I caught the top of the zone, but instead it's ball 4. It brings up Aubrey Zeck and brings up Aubrey Zekman. Zekman still trying to find her swing after that 4-hit game she had versus Lynn. To close out the series last week, that one bounces away from Maloney, and Reynolds will scoot on over to second on a wild pitch. Zekman 0 for 8 this week. So as a result, Coach Leslie Cantor giving a freshman a chance to kind of reset things, hitting in the 9th spot. A drop ball in for a strike by Bobniak, brings the count to 1-1. Lane and Greenlaw playing in front of their respective bases.
Looked as though Zekman was going to slap. Let's see how she responds now. Showing bunt this time.
It goes after it, says Eric Valentine, 1-2. These are those ebbs and flows that Coach Cantor knew she was going to have with this freshman class, especially with so many of them filling up her lineup card. Ball and 2 strikes for Zekman. Reynolds on at second after a walk and a wild pitch. And down goes Zekman swinging. So the woes continue for the freshman. 2 down. I'll go back to the top of the order and Jenna Newpaver.
Newpaver, who grounded out to Zanitas, starting pitcher, in the first inning.
Goes out to the first pitch, slow roller to Zolano, gets to throw to first, just in time. Newpaver's retired, and so are the Spartans in the second. So Reynolds gets stranded in scoring position after the walk. 1 left on base. We're through 2 here in the Only Family Stadium. Spartans still with the 1-0 advantage here in the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. Victor Anderson alongside Bruce Wozniak and Sweet Caroline blaring over the speakers. And the fans down below missing a popular cue, apparently. Top of the third we go. Spartans with the 1-0 lead. Iceman, Zolano, and Sabo due up for Wilmington to take on Holly Steffes. And Bruce, she's been what the Tampa has needed her to be. She's only allowed 1 hit, 2 strikeouts through the first 2 innings of work, and she starts off the third with ball 1.
Steffes getting the call here in game 2 after a game 1 that started with Gwen McGinnis as the starter, pulled and then reinserted.
Yep, left center field. Zekman hauls it in for out number 1.
McGinnis gave way to Kelsey Winters game 1 before coming back into the circle. Steffes, 38 pitches thrown so far in the first 2 1/3 of this one.
Zolano goes out to the first pitch. It'll be bounced over to second base. The editor will have no play. And it'll be an infield single for Zolano.
Yeah, it was good hustle by Hannah Yetter, but just not in the right position to turn and try to fire to get the out at first. And so as a result, the Wildcats have a base runner here in the top of the third, trailing only 1-0.
And we go back to the top of the order, and Addison Sabo. Sabo drops down a bunt. Newpaper gets over to first in time. They go to third, and the tag is late. After the left side of the infield was playing the bunt, Solano takes advantage, beats out Kreidler, and the sacrifice bunt has the runner at third, and it'll bring up Riley Maloney.
Great job by Kreidler, though, to go over there and cover third. And this time I know I will be accused of sounding like a homer, but I thought from up here, granted we're at a much different vantage point, but from up here I thought that was in time.
The throw was on time, but the tag was just a second late, and Solano snuck in that hand underneath Kreidler.
See the conference there in the pitching circle, the battery and all the infielders. Kreidler with a little glance over her shoulder, the runner at third. 2 outs, however, and trying to navigate this for the Wildcats is Riley Maloney, the catcher who singled in the first inning.
Going after that same spot again, fouls it off. It was the second time due the order that got Steffes in trouble Wednesday night versus Assumption after she coasted through the first 3+ innings. Paints a strike over to Maloney. Makes it 0-2. Tying run 60 feet away in the form of Cassidy Solano. 2 outs in a Wilmington third, down 1-0 over Tampa. And now goes Maloney. Steffes wins the battle this time and strands the tying run at third. Wildcats get a runner on, but they leave them stranded. One hit, one left. 2.5 in the books. Spartans still with a 1-0 lead on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. Back here at the Namoli Family Stadium, we're in the bottom of the third. Spartans up 1-0 over Wilmington, trying to complete a doubleheader sweep and make it a lucky 7th straight win. Abby Johns, Kenna Kreidler, and Cam Feast will come to the plate.
Victor, I want to underscore the importance of conditioning. This is a Spartans team that plays in a stadium in West Central Florida where the temperatures like they are today are routinely high 80s, sometimes 90. And you're talking about a doubleheader today and a doubleheader tomorrow. Mm-hmm. That's a lot of softball in 24-ish hours. And conditioning is so huge for these student athletes.
And not to mention the conditioning, the ability to have your pitching staff be available for you and not rely on your senior ace, Gwen McGinnis. She's appeared in 3 of the games so far they played this week. It's fouled off, brings the count to 0-2. And talking to Coach Cantor prior to the week, the biggest thing that she stressed was she wants to use Gwen, but she doesn't want to overextend her too much, understanding that you still got conference play when you finish up this homestand back in 2 weeks when you go on the road against Palm Beach Atlantic. And I would say it's high, ball 1.
Yeah, and that's why she's been at the helm of this program for as many years as she has been. That kind of vision, that kind of wisdom. And this is certainly not the first time in her long career here at the University of Tampa where she's had a lineup that, as I mentioned before, Gwen McGinnis is the only senior. So the patience and at the same time the belief that she shows with these underclassmen.
This is inside. Good looking pitch again by Babniak, who's in the circle, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Cantor has had such a successful career that I think when you pull on that University of Tampa softball jersey, you know that there's an expectation, a history of winning here, and that alone is going to help you raise your game.
In her 32nd season leading this Tampa program, by far the longest tenured head coach in the Sunshine State Conference at one institution. Another 2-2. Low and kicks away from the catcher Maloney, 3-2.
Yeah, 15 NCAA appearances in 31 seasons. Fantastic, fantastic career that she's had here.
And you can make the argument, Bruce, that has had her best success in her last 3 seasons. Now one will be in foul ground, and it will be in the glove of Lane. Just past Coach Cantor for out number 1. Of course, Tampa making it to the Super Regionals for the first time in 2023. And then they break through, win the South Regional, play for the national championship for losing to UT Tyler. And now you have to replace all of those marquee names with a relatively young but still talented Tampa team in 2026. Here's Kenneth Kryler, one of the veterans at the plate, bends back, bends outside, ball 1.
Yeah, and there has been no shortage of just tremendous, tremendous pitchers that we've seen come through this program over the years. And obviously, McGinnis has added her name to that list.
Kryler hits that one out of play, and that one will land in the entrance just behind us. Spartans were preseason number 2 in the nation, out of the top 25 after that series sweep they suffered at the hands of St. Leo. Back on the right side of things, swept Lynn, took care of business versus Assumption. Beat Wilmington here in game 1, 6-2. Ahead 1-0 in game 2. Kryler ahead 3-1. Kryler, the only Spartan to have reached in every game this year, and just misses extending that there. Splits it foul down along the third base line. Payoff pitch. Kryler turns underneath it, just misses it, and that will land high on the screen and will bounce back into Maloney.
It's been a joy to watch Gwen McGinnis throughout her Spartans career. I've had the pleasure over the years of watching the likes of Julia Morrow, Corinne Miner, Mariah Galhouse, some fantastic pitchers that we've seen here in the Spartans program.
And McGinnis has certainly heard her name. That was hit well to left center, but not far enough. Sabo tracks it down, out number 2. And again, the spaciousness of this ballpark hurts the Tampa hitters as much as the opposing hitters as well.
Yeah, I could make the argument that in other stadiums that ball could have been at the fence.
Or depending on the park, over the fence.
Exactly.
So 2 down for Cam Feast. Reached on a walk, her first appearance. Cam having a really strong last two plate, a couple of bats. Bubble ground out to short to Zolano, and the Spartans will go down 1-2-3. Appears to be another pitcher's duel on our hands, Bruce. 3 innings in the books, still 1-0 lead for the Spartans here in the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. Back here inside the Only Family Stadium, see head coach Leslie Cantor going to make a change defensively for Tampa with it being a 1-0 lead in the bottom of the fourth. And we're going to see an early defensive change. Joey Trawick will come in to play right field for Cam Feast. So, Bruce, we usually see that later on in the game, but Coach Cantor understanding you have a 1-run lead, you don't want to give up any opportunities for putting Trawick in the fourth inning.
Yeah, and you had pointed out earlier that she had made a change before the game even started in terms of the lineup and the way that she moved Zekman around. So maybe we shouldn't be too surprised that she's trying to get out in front of this. And kind of like we said about scratching our heads and wondering why Mike Shehorn made his pitching change, we may not understand right now why Leslie Cantor has made this move at this particular time. But that's why she's had the career that we were talking about before the break. And obviously recognizing value with this situation being what it is. Just a 1-0 game and only 4 hits between the two teams combined as we're here in the top of the fourth.
And that's how you won if you're Coach Cantor, 875 games. High bouncer now gets past Yetter in the center field, and Trapani will have the leadoff knock to start off the fourth for Wilmington.
A couple of tough breaks for the Spartans in the field. We saw a similar play earlier, and a great job to stop the ball from getting out of the infield, but just like that one, no opportunity to finish it out in the form of an out. And so the Wildcats start the top of the fourth with a runner on base.
It'll bring up Mia Lane. Lane takes ball one, runner goes, and a beautiful throw, and a tag applied by Reynolds, and Trapani goes down.
And there's a shot in the arm that kind of makes the infield exhale a little bit after seeing the runner get aboard and then very quickly sending her back to the dugout.
Wilmington now 12 of 20 in terms of stolen bases this year. It's inside 2-0 for Mia Lane. Both teams preseason ranked in the NFCA group poll. Tampa number 2, Wilmington number 19. The Rocky Stars have them on the outside of the poll. That's where strike 2 and 1. Of course, Wilmington winning the East 2 regional, falling in 3 games to Pace last year. So the Setters made their first trip to the national championships, just like Tampa did, making their first appearance in the national championships last year after winning their super regional. 3-1 to count to Mia Lane, 1 down in the fourth. Still 1-0 lead for Tampa. Makai Brumble O'Neill responsible for the game's lone run scoring hit. Chopper over fair ground. Great play by Newpaver to Newberry for Salisbury, out number 2.
Great play, great play. And that's exactly what the Spartans were looking for after seeing Wilmington put a runner on base, caught her stealing, and now that defensive gem that makes it 2 outs here in the top of the fourth. Really well done over at third base.
Outside ball 1 to Jess Reed. Reed bounced out to Reynolds and Short to lead off the Wilmington second. Steffes gets the sign from the dugout. Finds and fires a 1-0. Reed flips that to left. Out tries to stretch Johns. Cannot hold it in. 1-1.
Yeah, that was going to be a tough one, but good effort nonetheless by Abby Johns.
Tampa, as Bruce referenced, will continue their homestand tomorrow afternoon. Doubleheader versus Southwest Minnesota State. Mustangs having a phenomenal trip in the Sunshine State. They are 6-2 in their spring break trip at the halfway point after winning 2 today. Bouncer back to Reynolds. And another 3-up, 3-down frame for the freshman Holly Steffes.
In the top of the fourth, no runs, 1 hit.
Halfway home on this Friday late afternoon. Still 1-0 lead in favor of the Spartans on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. Victor Anderson, you're back with us, along with Bruce Wozniak. We're in the bottom of the fourth. Still 1-0 lead in favor of Tampa. Rumble O'Neill, Salisbury, Yetter, 5-6-7. Coming up against Babniak from Wilmington. And Rumble O'Neill, high hop, bounced down by Solano. Throw to first base, gets there. Great recovery by Solano on the tough hop for out number one.
Yeah, great recovery indeed, and that was going to be a very close call. And the Wildcats able to get out number one here in the bottom of the fourth. Trying to hang around and scratch out what would be a come from behind fourth win of the season. They're 3-10 coming into this game 2 of the doubleheader. Tampa is 10-5. If you missed it, 6-2 was our final score in game 1. The Spartans victorious.
So Wilmington did make it interesting in sixth and forced Leslie Cantor to bring back Gwen McGinnis. Avoiding to try to do that here. Salisbury ahead, 2 balls and no strikes. Salisbury fouled out to right to end the Tampa first. 1 run, 2 hits, no errors for Tampa. No runs, 3 hits, no errors for Wilmington. Tampa has left 3 on base. Wilmington has left 2. Little Swibber will find some grass past Solano. And Carly Salisbury with the third base hit of the day for Tampa.
Yeah, a really well-struck ball there by Salisbury. And this comes with only 1 out in the bottom of the fourth.
So
You don't want to get too premature, too excited over, quote-unquote, just a runner on first.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the opportunity. This is a very close game, and
Rumble over to second. They'll get the tag there. They'll get the double play. A great job at second base by Reed to tag Salisbury and get the throw to Greenlaw for the 4-3 double play, and that ends the inning. So the Spartans threat ends before it could even start. We'll head to the fourth. Still 1-0 lead for Tampa on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. Top of the fifth. Spartans still with a 1-0 lead, but Bruce, did that double play we just see to end the fourth inning serve as the turning point for Wilmington and their chance for a potential comeback?
it could be. It could be. That was as much of a shot in the arm for the Wildcats as it was devastating to the Spartans, we really had an opportunity. Let's see if the Wildcats rally around that.
Won't do it, at least on that opportunity, as Caroline Scott tries to bunt her way on, and Steffes gets it to Yetter for out number 1. Holly Steffes has allowed only 3 hits, no walks, 3 strikeouts now on 55 pitches. 36 have been for strikes. Here's Brianna Greenlaw, flew out to center to end the Wilmington second. She takes the first pitch for strike 1. Steffes going further in a game that she has as a Tampa Spartan in her young career.
Yeah, you read my mind in the sense that I was just thinking we do need to give credit to Holly Steffes, the way that she's hung in there and gotten her team to this point here in the top of inning number 5, and only a 1-0 lead, so not a lot of run support. After the first inning, I said that if she can get the run support, it's going to be a confidence booster, and she's kind of put the team on her back here since there's not been anything else to speak of since then, at least in terms of runs across the plate.
1 ball, 2 strikes for Greenlaw. Will that stay in play? The answer is yes, but Salisbury, Yetter, and Treywick cannot get there. Slight correction on Steffes. Her longest start came against Southern Wesleyan back in Embry-Riddle on February the 7th. She went 6 1/3, allowed 1 hit, struck out 9. But Tampa had a hold on. But Tampa got the win 4-2. And granted, she came in relief in that game. Gets jammed and fouls that one away. Her longest appearance was that game versus Southern Wesleyan. Her longest start was at St. Leo, where she went 4 2/3, 3 runs on 3 hits. Did not factor in the decision as that Tampa lost that game in extra innings, 5-4 in 9 innings, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
This game has really turned into what we thought the first game was headed for after 2.5 innings, when it seemed like runs were going to be really hard to come by. Now we're as far as the top of the 5th, and only that one by the Spartans. And again, to her credit, Holly Steffes has risen to the challenge.
3-2 count to Brianna Greenlaw. Trying to set the table for Alexa Eisman, who's on deck. Steffes' payoff. Just got a piece, did Greenlaw. Bruce, you referenced Steffes' pitch total in the first inning. 26 pitches in that first inning, and she's kept that pitch count down since then. Trying to do the same here in the 5th. Ball 4. That brings up Alexa Eisman.
Yeah, to this point, Holly Steffes 64 pitches overall through 4 1/3. So she has, as you said, Victor, settled down since that first inning.
So 38 pitches since that 28 pitch first, and that one catches Eisman on the hip. So the tying and go-ahead runs are aboard for Wilmington. And now decision time comes for Leslie Cantor.
I think it might have been a little closer to her knee. She went to first base and right away started to work that area out. And obviously, she's going to stay in the game.
Well, Coach Cantor is looking over to the dugout, and her assistant Katie Neubauer.
Yeah, I do see activity down in the Spartans bullpen.
I think it's one of those things where Coach Cantor is like, I don't want to make the change. And as we kind of figured, she didn't want to go to Gwen McGinnis in a situation, but sometimes you have to. So McGinnis will come in. We'll reset the scene when we come back as the Spartan Ace will take the slab to save things out on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. Well, Gwen McGinnis will be back in a familiar place in the circle here in Tampa, Name Only Family Stadium. And Bruce, we were kind of joking that this was the opportunity to give McGinnis some rest. But Steffens with the walk and a hit by pitch forces again Coach Leslie Cantor's hand, and the All-American will have to come in and try to save the day once again.
And oh, by the way, the Spartans, as you and I both mentioned earlier on, have a doubleheader here at home tomorrow. So whatever
Pump the bunt over to first. They can't get the double play. If Newpaper turns to second, they had Greenlaw dead to rights. It could have had a double play there, but instead, Solano pops out. So 2 down. They'll bring up Addison Sabo.
Now, whatever plans they might have had for McGinnis tomorrow, I would say she's going to try to have Coach Cantor's ear tonight, but I think that Gwen McGinnis is going to be in the ice bath.
No swing, says our field umpire. Ball 1 to Sabo. Greenlaw at second, Eisman at first. Gets jammed. Newpaper gets it right in front of the Tampa dugout with a big clap from Coach Cantor. McGinnis comes in, gets 2 pop-ups, and ends the thread for Wilmington. The Wildcats' best chance goes by the wayside with no runs on the board. They leave 2. Spartans will look to add some insurance. 1-0 lead after 4.5 on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. Kenzie Reynolds, Aubrey Zeckman, and Jenna Newpaper go to work in the bottom of the 5th. Tampa still with a 1-0 lead. Victor Anderson, Bruce Wozniak, glad you wasn't Bruce. When McGinnis comes in, only needs 3 pitches to get 2 outs and keep the Tampa lead at 1-0.
Victor, I'm going to say that the pressure is as much on the Spartans right now as it is on the Wildcats. This 1-run game, this 1-run lead just does not feel safe. And the Spartans, I think they know that they've got their work cut out for them. I think that's why we saw Cantor go back to McGinnis. And offensively, they've really got to find their hitting shoes. Starting with this bottom of the 5th, time's soon going to become a factor for both teams. And, you know, as much as you can say you've got old Reliable back in the pitching circle now, that arm of hers has been worked an awful lot today.
4th time she's appeared in as many games this week. 3-1 to count to Kenzie Reynolds. Reynolds, Zeckman, Newpaper to the plate.
Yeah, and that's a great point. 4th time in as many games this week. So it's not just today, but that body of work that you cited in a short amount of time.
Fouled off, and that one caught the hand of Maloney. And she is writhing in pain in front of home plate. Well, he's like, I'm good. I need a moment. It looked like I may have, I don't know if it caught her on the inside of the leg. She's giving a right smile to the trainer. They're going to give her as much time as she needs to recover.
You can even see Kenzie Reynolds smiling, saying, "Are you okay?"
Yeah, like look here. When you're behind the plate, you get those foul tips back there. You get extra ice bags. Round over to short. Zalano has been a wizard there, and they just get her out. Coach Rubio, none too pleased about the call over at first by Rick Zanzone. That was a bang-bang play, Bruce. It looked like Reynolds may have beat it out, but Zanzone says otherwise.
Yeah, that was a very close call, one that I wish we had the benefit of replay. And obviously, assistant coach Denise Rubio is not going to win her case over there, but really good compliment to the Wildcats defense and being able to make that play.
Ball one to Zekman.
Give credit where credit is due. At the same point, kids, that's why you run those out.
Ground ball back to Babniak. Much easier play this time. 2 down. And Zekman still trying to get back in that hitting groove. Here comes Jenna Newpaper.
Back to the top of the order for the Spartans. The third baseman, number 3.
Newpaper 0 for 2. Pair of ground outs. And I'll tell you what, the move to put Babiak in the circle has paid off in spades for Coach Shehorn and Wilmington. And coming into this appearance, she only pitched a third of an inning coming into this season with 3 walks. Today, she has been more than adequate. 3 1/3, 1 hit, 1 walk, 1 strikeout, and a wild pitch on 40 pitches.
Yeah, and let's go back to when she did come in, and I talked about the opportunity to put something on tape for her coach to consider, and she's given him a lot to look at. A lot of good film, as they would say.
Bounce over to Zolano. Gets it there in time, and Babniak does her job in the circle for Wilmington. But can the Wilmington Mets finally wake up against the Spartan Ace? 5 innings in the books. Still 1-0 lead for the Spartans on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. Victor Anderson back alongside Bruce Wozniak. Got you back with us here in the Namoli Family Stadium. Still 1-0 lead for Tampa as we go into the top of the 6th. A pitcher's duel has held up so far. It's really, Bruce, just a matter of which team can get the critical hit first as we enter the home stretch with Maloney swinging missing for strike 1.
Yeah, and I think all eyes are going to be on Gwen McGinnis in a way that we're not used to. How is she going to hold up with all the work that she's had? And can she get the Spartans across the finish line? 6 outs away from doing so.
There's a for strike 1 and 2. McGinnis appeared in both games of the doubleheader versus Assumption. Picked up the win and the save there. Picked up the win in game 1, trying to get the save for Holly Steffens in game. Picked up 2 wins in the doubleheader versus Assumption. Got the win in game 1, trying to get the save in game number 2. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Riley Maloney. Maloney flips out the right elbow, drop in front of Joey Trawick. And once again, Wilmington will have the tying run aboard.
And that's really big at the risk of being Captain Obvious. Wilmington, that's their 4th hit of the game.
We'll see a pinch runner for Maloney at first.
I should say only their 4th hit of the game. And the Spartans, mind you, only 3. So opportunity here for the Wildcats. And let's see if they're thinking sacrifice bunt. Try to get a runner into scoring position.
So Jaden Bell will be the pinch runner at first for Maloney. Trapani to the plate now. We'll see if she will bunt her over. Does go after the bunt. McGinnis. Throw low to first, but gets there in plenty of time. This time Tampa does have somebody covering third. So Trapani does the job with a sacrifice bunt. And it'll be up to Mia Lane.
And you'd have to believe that head coach Mike Shehorn has his team right where he wants them. Runner in scoring position, his cleanup hitter coming to the plate. Let's see if she can deliver the goods here against Gwen McGinnis.
Upstairs, ball one.
Lane is 0 for 2 in this game. Flew out to left field in the first and then ground out to third in the fourth.
Breaking ball will stay in play for Salisbury. Great pitch by McGinnis to get weak contact and a pop up to Salisbury, 2 down.
Yeah, that's going to be a disappointing outcome from Mia Lane. Had a real opportunity there, and instead her team now with 2 outs in the top of the 6th.
It'll be up to Jess Reed. Reed takes low, ball 1. McGinnis, with that pop-up, has now thrown 204 pitches in these 4 games Tampa has played this weekend. Number 205 of the week is fouled away, 1-1. She threw 72 pitches in a complete game shutout versus Assumption. 40 pitches in her 4 innings to get the win against the Greyhounds in Game 2. Had 82 pitches in the win in Game 1 versus Wilmington. Pitch number 14 here is fouled away. Pitch number 15, is fouled away, 1-2. And again, as Bruce, you referenced, with that doubleheader coming up tomorrow, you likely won't see McGinnis until at the very latest Game 2. Tapped again, almost the same exact spot off the bat of Reed.
Yeah, and if you think about it, that's music to the ears of Southwest Minnesota State.
Especially with the way the Mustangs have been hitting in the Sunshine State. They've won 3 in a row. They're 6-2 in their trip to Florida. This one in play and in the glove on a diving catch by Johns. And that ends the inning for Wilmington. So once again, Wilmington gets the tying run aboard, but leaves them stranded in the scoring position. No runs on 1 hit, 1 Wildcat left. Spartans seek some insurance when we return to the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. Abby Johns, who made a head-first diving catch to end at the top of the 6th, will lead off the bottom of the 6th for the Spartans, clinging to a 1-0 lead. Johns, Kreidler, and Feast due to the plate.
Yeah, it's interesting. The 2, 3, and 4 hitters. Oh, great play. Nice job there over at third base for out number 1. It's interesting that the Spartans are sending their 2, 3, and 4 hitters to the plate, which is probably what Leslie Cantor would have wanted, just like in the top of this 6th inning when I mentioned that Mike Shehorn was looking at his cleanup hitter in a prime position. The Spartans were able to hold him off defensively.
And Kreidler spooks. Oh, just bounces foul. Bounces foul at the last possible tenth of a second.
By a millimeter, not even a centimeter. That was so close that if there was a replay, if I was Leslie Cantor, I would throw the challenge flag.
Kryler trying to reach base. She's done that in every game the Spartans have played this year. In danger of seeing that streak end if she cannot reach here. Low and inside. Think about what Kryler's been tasked to do. Hitting the top of this order. Really extend her game offensively, and she's been up to the task. Lifts that one behind third, and Lane will get there to make the catch. So for the first time all season, and for Kenna Kryler will not reach base, and for the second time, she will not have a base hit. The only other occurrence came in the series. It was in the second game of that series against St. Leo, where she went 0 for 2 but had 3 walks. So 2 down as Cam Feast will re-enter the game for Trawick. Feast walked in the first, grounded out to short, back in the third. Wilmington will have up in their half of the 7th Scott, Greenlaw, and Eisman scheduled to hit. Foul sends one over to Greenlaw, but lands foul.
Yeah, that's their 6, 7, and 8 hitters. And this is the Spartans' number 4 hitter. This one is going down to the proverbial WIRE. 2 outs in the bottom of the 6th.
Feast goes after that one. Backhanded play, but Solano was on platform, and that, though, would have been difficult as it is. With her being off balance, made it nearly impossible, and Cam Feast with a 2-out single. Now, keep in mind,
fans, they're probably saying it's about time.
Yes, they certainly are.
It's our turn to see one where the infielder makes a great play but can't close it out.
Only the second hit for Tampa since the first inning. The woman with one of those hits at the plate, Brumble O'Neill, found someone off their left foot. Now, we say 6, 7, and 8, those scheduled hitters, but Wilmington does have Maddie Vollmer available as a possible pinch hitter. Gabriela Saucedo will also available, as well as Angelina Edwards. Brumble O'Neill responsible for the game's lone run, an RBI single with 2 outs that brought home Abby Johns in the first.
And here we are with 2 outs again, which has been the story of the day for you, Tampa. All 6 runs in game 1 came with 2 outs. And Victor, you just mentioned this game's only run came with 2 outs. Here we are with 2 outs in the bottom of the 6th.
1-1 high and inside. Feast is back in second and plenty of time for the Maloney throw.
What a Hollywood script it would be if the Spartans are able to add to their lead here in the bottom of the 6th with 2 outs once again, just to punctuate it.
2-1, and that one goes down to left field. Feast was on the move. She'll go to first to third. Brumble O'Neill will have to settle for a single. Couldn't duplicate what she did in the 6 versus Assumption, where she had a 2-run pinch hit single to give the Spartans the lead. But first and third, they'll bring to plate Carly Salisbury. So now it's up to the freshman. So week shy, turning 19. A chance to give the Spartans some much-needed insurance. Salisbury fouled out to right and singled. Her 2 at-bats today. Up in ball 1. And interesting strategy of your coach Cantor, as Maloney will ask for some time. You got 2 outs. You got the force at second. You have Brumble O'Neill with good speed. Do you risk sending her in a possible delay steal to give Feast a chance to steal home?
Now we're going to see head coach Mike Shehorn come out and join this conference in the pitching circle for the Wildcats, trying to navigate through this bottom of the sixth. Keep in mind there are 2 outs. Wildcats want to keep this a 1-run game and try to tie it up in the top of inning number 7.
You see Coach Shehorn talking specifically to Lane Zolano in the infield about, hey, watch if Brummel O'Neill tries to steal second, cut off that throw, and make sure Feast does not try to sprint for home plate. In games like this, it's those small little details that make the difference. 2 teams who recently played at a Division II National Championships, Wilmington in 2024 in Longwood. It's Tampa last year in Chattanooga. Preseason top 20 teams battling here on a Friday evening. 1-0 count. Robert O'Neill does not go. 2-0 to count to Salisbury.
Keep in mind, Carly Salisbury did have success back in inning number 4 with one of UTampa's 5 hits.
This is low. 3 balls and no strikes. And walking Salisbury may not be the worst thing. You got Hannah Yetter scheduled on deck. But if she does reach the load of bases, to see if Coach Cantor maybe goes with a pinch hitter potentially in that spot. Well, we're going to find out the answer to that question as Salisbury draws a 4-pitch walk. And it will indeed be Hannah Yetter.
Coming to bat, your second baseman, number 12, Hannah Yetter.
So a big opportunity for Hannah Yetter.
Spartans' second base player is 0 for 2 in this game, which Spartans fans would say, well, good, that means that she's due for a base hit. Base is loaded with 2 outs.
Outside, strike 1. Feast at third, Brummel O'Neill at second, Salisbury at first. Hannah Yetter to the plate. The sophomore trying to extend the Tampa lead. Hits it well to left. Turning around is Sable. She's there with the outfield drawn in. And the Spartans waste their base opportunity. They leave the bases loaded. So Gwen McGinnis will go back to work to preserve the save for Holly Steffes. Spartans up 1-0 after 6 on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. Down to the wire here on a Friday afternoon/evening. 1-0 lead in favor of the Spartans, trying to get their 7th straight win to preserve the sweep over Wilmington. Victor Anderson, Bruce Wozniak, glad you're with us. And Bruce, it's been the Gwen McGinnis show pretty much all day long, and she'll look to close the curtain on Wilmington's comeback hopes.
Yeah, what another tremendous page she would add to her book as a Spartans pitcher over her years here. And if she could close out this victory for her team, which would push them to 11-5 in 2026.
Strike 1 for Caroline Scott.
Trying to get that doubleheader sweep.
And get some momentum as well. 2 balls and a strike. Scott Greenlaw, Eisman, the scheduled hitters for Wilmington.
6, 7, and 8 in head coach Mike Shehorn's batting order.
Scott 0 for 2, pair of groundouts. She's ahead 3-1, pops it up, and it will be Yetter in front of Zekman out number 1.
You're going freshman, junior, senior in terms of those 3 hitters. And let's see if these upperclassmen can come through for the Wildcats when they need them most. Their backs to the wall here in the top of the 7th.
Greenlaw takes strike 1. Greenlaw walked in the 5th, flew out to center in the 2nd, swings at a pitch from McGinnis, falls behind 0-2. Holly Steffes went 4 in the 3rd, 3 hits, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts. Also hit a batter on 65 pitches. When McGinnis on, trying to preserve the win for the freshman Steffes and pick up the save. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Greenlaw, 1 down in the 7th. Spartans up 1-0. One bouncer will squeak past Yetter. And once again, Wilmington will have the tying run aboard. And we'll see Coach Shehorn look over at his lineup card. Maybe goes to a pinch runner here with Greenlaw.
Now the junior comes through, and now the senior steps into the batter's box. Hope definitely alive for the Wildcats. Only 1 out.
Eisman with the bunt, but foul past Salisbury. Eisman got hit, and that was the last batter Holly Steffes faced before McGinnis came on in relief. Swing and a miss, and she's behind 0-2. Gwen McGinnis trying to pick up her first save on the season. Upstairs, 1 ball and 2 strikes.
McGinnis has thrown 29 pitches since entering this game.
If you count the pitches she's thrown this week as that one gets away, and I will move Greenlaw at second base. If you count the 3 other appearances she's made this week, she has now thrown 222 pitches in 4 games. 2-2. Jam, back to McGinnis, 2 out.
The only way that could have been more fitting is if that was out number 3 for McGinnis to be the one to catch the ball for the out. But all of a sudden, Wilmington University down to their final out, needing only 1 run to tie it, and the tying run is at second. Let's see if Zolano can respond.
Zolano swings through 0-1. Gwen McGinnis looking for her first save in her senior year. Wilmington with the tying run at second and Brianna Greenlaw. 2 outs in the 7th. And Wilmington will be down to their final strike as Zolano's behind 0-2. Gwen McGinnis has picked up the win in all 3 games so far this week, trying to preserve the win for Holly Steffes here. The 0-2 fouled away.
As much as Cassidy Zolano's back is to the wall, behind 0-2 with 2 outs, keep in mind that runner on second base. If she can get herself on.
Hit well to center field. Back goes Zekman. She makes the catch. And the Spartans hang on. And Gwen McGinnis picks up the save. Holly Steffes picks up the win. And Wilmington once again makes a late push. But the Spartans take the win 1-0 and will get their 7th straight win. But Bruce, it was not easy. But Tampa picks up the victory in a doubleheader sweep.
Yeah, and that's going to be an important win for this Spartans team that you have mentioned several times is a young lineup. It's a good character win for them. They improved to 11-5 on the season. A real tough one for Wilmington. Very tough loss. They fall to 3-11. Entertaining afternoon of softball for sure. The Spartans, as we mentioned, somehow have to get a great night's sleep and be ready for 2 more games tomorrow.
Wilmington ends a tough spring break trip with 1 win in the Sunshine State, and that was the opener versus Sioux Falls. Tampa picks up the win, their 7th in a row. Spartans now improve on the season to 11-5. Wilmington falls to 3-11. Tampa 1 run, 5 hits, no errors. They leave 6. Wilmington no runs, 5 hits, no errors. They also leave 6. Holly Steffens picks up the win. She improves to 3-1 on the campaign. A tough, hard luck loss for the losing pitcher. That will be Casey Zanita. She falls to 1-3. Gwen McGinnis picks up the first save on the season. Tampa now winners of 7 in a row. Will look to make it 8 and possibly 9 as we'll take on the Mustangs of Southwest Minnesota State tomorrow afternoon. 2-4 first pitch. We'll have it here for you on the confines of Naomi Family Stadium here on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. So for Bruce Wozniak and our entire crew, Victor Anderson, we say so long. Tampa wins 1-0. They extend their winning streak to 7 in a row. Have a great Friday evening. This has been Tampa Softball on the